Hello everyone, this is your walkthrough video for our second Sunday of doing church at home. So Sunday 29th of March, we're going to continue our theme of Easter. Obviously we are building up to Easter. Last week we talked about what the difference was between the Easter that we see in the shops and then the Easter we see at church. So decoding the Easter symbolism of chicks and bunnies and eggs and all that sort of stuff, talking about new life in Christ. This week we're going to talk about communion. Next week is Palm Sunday. The week after that is Easter itself. So we're rushing quite through at a rate of knots. I hope everything worked for you last week. I hope you were able to find everything online. And the Kingdom of Faith online here, or /online. You've got the parent video and then the various resources here that you can download. If you had a problem with anything, please let me know. Please email children@kingdomfaith.com and we will do our best to make it available to you. If you're shouting at the screen right now, Dave, that's great, but I don't have a printer, or like me, maybe you have a printer. I have two, in fact, but I've run out of ink on both. If that is the situation with you, I totally feel your pain. Maybe there are ways we can work around that. Next time you go shopping, buy yourself a pack of paper, and a lot of these things you can actually just recreate by writing them out on a piece of paper or having your children write them out on a piece of paper. Anyway, let's get into it. Last week we used the video from Saddleback Kids, and we're going to use a video every week during this Easter run-up, just because they're really good videos and they're just so well made and they communicate the heart really well. Last week we did the Easter overview. This week we will do the Last Supper. And that looks like this.
The story of Easter, the Last Supper. This is Jesus.
Hey-o!
At this time, the Jewish people were celebrating a festival called Passover that had been celebrated since the time of Moses, when God brought his people out of Egypt. Later that evening, Jesus arrived with the 12 disciples. They sat down to eat, and Jesus said that he was happy to be with everyone. He gave the bread to Judas, and Jesus said, "Hurry and do what you're going to do." They all sang a song to God together.
I hope you'll agree those videos are really good. I found them really helpful. They're just done in such a nice way, and they communicate it well, and plus it's just executed excellently. So with our talk today, again, as usual, if you've worked with J247 before, you'll notice we have these talk sheets, and it's broken down with suggestions for what to do with a younger group and suggestions for what to do with an older group. Now, I've highlighted here Luke 22:7 through to 20. And you'll see there that you can click the link to the Bible Gateway passage and have it pop up in the International Children's Bible. So you could read it from there, or you can print it off from there if you'd like. We are going to suggest that with the older group. With the older group, we've actually got printouts here with Luke printed out and then a space for their notes. Like I said before, if you haven't got a printer at home, or that's not the sort of thing you want to spend your ink on, then have the children just read it out of whatever Bible they've got. Maybe you've got an NLT lying around. They're great Bibles for children to read because it's just so easy to understand. And then give them a piece of plain paper so that they can make notes down the side here. It doesn't have to be down the side of the actual Bible. I just find this really, really useful with the older groups. Last year we did this exercise with the J247 guys in Horsham. And one of the lads in our group, he circled all the verse numbers because I'd asked them to circle things they didn't understand and to underline things they wanted to talk about. So just setting up a little rule like that was so helpful because this lad had circled all the numbers. He was thinking, what on earth are all these numbers doing on this Bible sheet? He couldn't understand it. He just hadn't clicked at all that the Bible's broken down into verses, or chapters and verses. And so he didn't know why all these random numbers were there. So it's a really useful exercise to get people to circle things they don't know or understand, and to underline things that they want to talk about more. I'll bet, not that I'm a betting man, but I'll bet that in line 1 you're going to find things that the children don't understand. Either, if you're counting line 1 to be the title here, preparation of Passover meal, or the day of unleavened bread had come. Hey, which one do you want? they're not going to know either Passover or unleavened. So you're going to have to do some explaining from the get-go. But that's the fun of it. Read through it and talk about it. Discuss. What is this? It doesn't even matter whether you know what the Day of Unleavened Bread was. The fact is, it's a Jewish festival. As long as we can get that in our head, brilliant, we can move on. This was the day that the Passover lambs had to be sacrificed. Aha, the clue's on the next line here. Brilliant. Jesus said to Peter and John, da 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 da. Okay, so with whatever group it's not whatever group you're working with, your families. Whatever age your family is, or your children are anyway, I've got some questions here that might be useful for you. So, some questions. The question is in black and then the answer is in brown for the younger ones and for the older ones. So with the younger ones, it's a little bit of a read through the whole thing and then do question and answer about it, because we want to try and keep their attention while we have it with the read through. With the older ones, because as you see here, the passage is broken down into two halves. There's the preparation of the Passover meal at the top and then the Lord's Supper at the bottom. Because it is two distinct parts, we want to treat it like two distinct parts. So we've actually called it part 1 and part 2 here, with questions for part 1 and questions for part 2 for the older young people to think about. So maybe if your children are 5 or 6 upwards, probably 6 or 7, definitely do the older thing. And if your children are below that, do the younger group session. So our verse that is our catch-all today is, for every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you're announcing the Lord's death until he comes again. 1 Corinthians 11:26. The question we want to ask, and maybe this will be a good place to start today, is, have you ever heard an announcement? Have you ever been to a big football match or an athletics event or a railway station? Where is there someone, or a theatre? Somewhere where someone's given an announcement. What is an announcement? In some translations you'll have, you're not announcing the Lord's death until he comes, you're proclaiming the Lord's death until he comes again. Either, both work. But what have you heard that was an announcement? Can the children think of an announcement that they've heard? What is an announcement? Let's try and get a hold of that. Well, it's an important piece of information, isn't it? When you hear the announcement that the train you need is leaving on platform 3 and you're stood on platform 2, it's an important announcement. Get yourself over to platform 3. So we're announcing the Lord's death until he comes again. This is important news. And we remember and we announce this news every time we take communion. So you'll have heard from Pastor Clive, doubtless, in whatever congregation you're in, about doing lordship in the home and doing communion in the home. And some of you are sitting there going, Dave, that didn't work for us. We tried it, chaos. Or some of you are going, Dave, that's brilliant, love that, we do it all the time. It doesn't matter which you're in. What we're saying is, today, let's try it again. If you've tried and it's been really hard for you, try again. Today is a brilliant day to try again. Lordship in the home. Let's take communion as a group, as a family. Sorry, I keep saying group because I'm in J24/7 mode. Let's take communion as a family, and let's explain what we're doing to the children. Let's take our time with it. And as we're doing that, I'm sure we will find that we have a breakthrough. There are some crafts and some games and things. The crafts are quite simple. Let me click back here and I'll show what they are. Firstly, we have this little poster to colour in, this eat this bread and drink this cup poster. Then we've got this, if you've got younger ones, a dot-to-dot sheet, a Last Supper colouring sheet, and last time a fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. What do you think you have to do? Dave, what do we do with the fill in the blanks sheet? Don't know, mate. Okay, it's obvious what you do with the fill in the blank sheet, Dave. We've also provided you with 16 cutouts of Easter eggs, so you can do an Easter egg hunt. What we do when we use this is we split the memory verse down into 16 chunks. So you're going to put 1 or 2 words on the back side, on the reverse of each of these eggs. If you can't print them out, just cut out coloured bits of card or just plain bits of paper. Get the kids to decorate the eggs maybe before they hide them. We put 1 or 2 words on each egg, so as we've hidden the eggs around the room or around the garden, wherever you're playing the game, and they collect them and turn them the other way up, then you'll find, look, we can piece together the memory verse. And so that's why we use, or how we use, those things. If I click here on singing and response, we'll go to the parent portal, and on the parent portal you'll find all the different action worship videos that we use in J24/7. You may know that YouTube has clamped down on its children policy or its child protection policy. I don't know what it's categorised as, but it means that you can't now put videos that are registered for children into a playlist anymore, which is annoying. Sains has very kindly put this page on our website, so we've got all the different songs that we use as individual files up there. Nice one, Sains, that works brilliantly. Lastly, I want to highlight this family competition. We are all doing social isolation, or whatever you want to call it, right? We're all doing this. We're all at home, not going out, and sometimes you can be tempted to feel like you're the only one doing that. And what we would love to do is to communicate to the children, we're all in the same boat, we're all doing this, all of us are on our own. So it's not just you that feels like you're on our own, we feel like we're on our own too. And I'd love to share photos from one family to another via this video that we do each week of us being on our own together, right? Because we're all joining together on a Sunday morning at the same time, roughly at least. But we don't want our children to feel isolated. We want them to feel connected during this time. So one thing we can do to help that is, please can you send a photo of your family gathering for church at home to children@kingdomfaith.com. If you download the sheet, it's also got my phone number on it, so you can WhatsApp me. But I'm not going to shout that around online. But yeah, email me, children@kingdomfaith.com. We would love to share photos of my family, your family, our families, just doing the same thing together, just to help the children see we're not alone, we're doing this together. Hey, wherever you are this week and whatever congregation you would usually be a part of, thank you for valuing your children enough to watch me for over 10 minutes. Bless you, you deserve some sort of medal. Thank you for investing in your children in our church. It's a huge blessing to see parents valuing their kids enough to invest in them. We love that. You know, everything you do with your children matters. You matter. God is good, and your life matters. What you do with them really counts. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a brilliant week wherever you are. Please remember to send us your photos. We'll do some more inter-family challenges as we pick up a little bit of momentum with people actually emailing in, all right? So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. And if you've been having a hard time, I say this every week, but may God's grace and His peace be with you in this time. Have a great week. See you next time.